Can we do it?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vibration, where we empower individuals to speak their distinct truth, passions, and personal message on a global online stage. I'm your host, Mechelle McDonald, passionate foodie, author, and entrepreneur. And tonight's episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L, a Bahamian artisan skincare company that encourages you to nourish your everyday skin glow. I am absolutely over the moon to welcome our special guest today, which is Miss Jemeica Freckleton, who had given me the amazing opportunity of having my first ever stage production. Jemeica, welcome to the stage.
Hi, everyone.
So we are continuing our theme of celebrating the arts and the creatives of the Bahamas. So, of course, I had to have you here. And for those who are not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, you've already said my name. So again, it's Jemeica Freckleton, but everybody affectionately calls me Jem.
Jem.
Yes. I've been a nurse for 9 years. I've been a counselor for about 2 years. I have a background in psychology. But apart from that, I have a creative side. I'm the author of the book, The Heist, Escaping a Narcissist, the blueprint. You could find the book on Amazon. And I'm also the producer, director, and co-writer of the award-winning
Hello.
stage play,
No, that's
Sincerely
right.
You. Jem.
Yes.
I'm the director, and producer of the award-winning play Sincerely You, which is inspired by my book. I'm a creative, like I said, an avid traveler. I love to read. I love to write. And I'm a sister, a friend, and soon to be wife.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you.
Love it, love it. So, Jem, referring to Sincerely You, how does it feel to be sitting across from yourself?
I am honored. I'm honored. Happy to be here, honestly, Mechelle. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And the thing is, I felt the exact same way when we did the auditions and you selected me. And then on the day of, you were like, hey, you will be playing me as I bring my personal story to life. I was absolutely honored. I couldn't have asked for a higher acclaim for something so personal and so genuine to you. And speaking on that, writing that book, The Heist, Escaping a Narcissist, The Blueprint, being able to have the courage, the strength, the resilience to put your story not only in words in that book, but bringing it to the stage and also empowering others, especially female audiences. How did that feel for you when you at first stepped into that realm of bringing it onto the stage?
Well, I'll start off by saying this. I did not know it was going to go this far. What started off as a personal story for me, or a personal triumph rather, I wrote that in a book. It was just for me to be able to tell my story in a way that didn't come off as angry or bitter. And, God promised me that I would be able to tell that story, but I did not imagine that it'll be in this capacity, So it started off as something personal, and then I realized that this was so much bigger than me. It was a lot of females that needed to hear this exact message. So it started off as a tragedy. People would label me as a victim, but I never saw myself as that. I saw this book and this stage play as a platform to raise awareness for a touch me not topic. A lot of people think that abuse is something that we should overlook, domestic violence at that. And a lot of people overlook emotional abuse because it's like you have a scar, so you could see it, that hurt. But imagine having something that you can't physically show someone and saying that it hurts. So to resonate with such a larger audience and hear females say, Gemma, was like seeing myself on that stage.
Yes.
That meant the world to me. So I knew that this was so much bigger than anything that, my story was small to compare to what that book and that stage play did for others.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you've really said a lot because you echoed the story of those women who felt as though they didn't have a voice, they didn't have a presence, they didn't have value because of what they experienced. And because you were able to put it out there unapologetically, away from society in the sense of the norm of, as you said, not talking about it, this really doesn't exist. Hey, maybe you can just get over it. And that is not true. That is not how we heal.
Healing is a journey. It's not linear. It's not one way. Healing depends on the person. And however long it takes you to heal, the most important thing is that it needs to be done. So I'm happy to be a part of your healing journey.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. So the thing is, you've put everything into this book. You're extremely proud of it. Your heart is set on it. And then came this opportunity for a stage production,
Whoa.
right? Okay. So the auditions came out, and you have all of these people coming on. And now is the time. You have stepped into the seat as a director. What were you thinking?
What was I thinking? Because first of all, did I mention that I was a nurse? Yeah. So I'm a nurse. I knew nothing about producing, directing, anything like this. And I remember reaching out to Carell because I always had it in my mind that I wanted to turn the book into a play. Now,
Nice.
what I had was a little different. I was thinking to give the story to someone to create. Y'all handle all of that, and then let me know how that turns out. But Carell had something completely different. She was like, Jam, check me in a month. I'm putting something together. I think that you'd really like it. Carell set me right up. Can I tell you? Can I tell you? She set me right up because I didn't know that I would actually put in the work. But it was worth it. Mm-hmm. It was worth it. I learned so much being behind the scenes, and it meant a whole lot to me that this is your story and you get to be a part of creating it. You get to be a part of the hard work, advertising it, picking those actors and seeing it come to fruition. So that was an amazing feeling. And I could look back and check that off my list. Nurse, counselor, director, producer. Yes. Yeah, so it felt great. It felt great.
There you go. And I think it really expanded, as you said, so much further than what you could have ever imagined. And also, too, being able to relate and connect with the persons that you've chosen to be a part of this special project, having that community, that sense of family. Do you feel like that made a difference in your overall experience?
It did. It did. I often say that I handpicked these characters. I was a part of that audition. So you had some persons that came in for different roles, and automatically I'm like, I see you as TT. And I remember Massey.
Yes.
Massey auditioned, and she wanted to be Felicity. Felicity was the Christian character, which is fine. She is a godly lady. But I was like, I see you as TT. So
Yes.
it meant a lot to be there to say, okay, I know these characters. I know who they are in real life. You are a good representation of that character, especially you, Mechelle. So I handpicked you and I chose you to be Jamie, myself. And a lot of people say our personalities are so different.
Yes.
But you put that spin. I'm usually an assertive, outspoken person, and you quite the opposite. You are a talkative person, but you're more quiet and reserved than me. But I think on the stage, they got to see another side of Jem. AKA Jamie. So there's that soft side. There's a vulnerable side.
Yes.
And I thank you that I was able to trust you to show that vulnerable side of me that I don't often show. So, yeah.
Aw, thank you, Jem. And the thing is, we, the cast, we thank you for having patience with us. You were there, ride or die. You were there every single audition. You were doing it again. Let's do it again. Get your head into the game. We're locking it in. We had activities to get us to relax, be more involved. And of course, Val assisted you.
My saving grace.
Yes.
Yeah, big up Val. Big up Val.
Yes, we love you. We love you. And it was because of your dedication. It was because it was so important to you. And it was because it was a story that not only had you written, you had lived, that you ensured that this came to life and that it became such a success.
Yes. Thank you for trusting me because I had no idea what I was doing, but you're always behind me 100%. So I thank you all for trusting me. I thank you for bringing my story to life.
So I have a question, Jem, because I really feel like there's more to this. Mm-hmm. You've given us a book. You've given us an amazing award-winning stage production that people are still asking for. I'm sure you know that already.
Yes.
But I know that this stems from something else. What is that?
You mean what's to come, or?
What was the core that connected to you being an advocate, an ambassador for domestic violence, for sharing your story? Where did that come from? I believe that you may have established something or created something that really brought this to life.
It was a real life experience for me that I didn't just want to have to tell this story, like I said, in a bitter or angry way. I wanted to be able to tell it in a way that was impactful, that was meaningful to people. And like I said, it wasn't until I was brave enough to speak about my experience that other people started to come out and tell me when they read the book, Jam, well, I didn't know that I had somebody else that experienced the same thing. It's nothing like you feeling alone in a situation. And if you've ever been involved with a narcissist, you'd know that you'd be isolated, you'd be gaslit, and you'd feel like you're going out of your mind. And you know what's really going on, but you don't know if somebody else could relate. So imagine somebody reading that and saying, Jam, I understand.
Yes.
Imagine somebody watching that play and saying, Jam, I understand. It meant a whole lot. So like I said, it wasn't just a story for me anymore. It was getting a bigger message out there. I'm a loud mouth. So if I'm going to be loud about something, let me be loud about something that's meaningful. So that's exactly where this stems from, being a voice for the voiceless. It's my stage. And even if I don't grace another stage, I know that this opportunity allowed me to do just that. Put a message out there. Abuse is no laughing matter. I stand with you. I understand.
Yes. Powerful, very powerful words. And the thing is, sometimes that's all that someone needs to hear, those simple words of encouragement to know that someone else cares, and it allows them to feel as though I can keep going. My story continues beyond what I've already experienced, and it does not define me.
No, definitely not. We don't use the label victim around here. We are survivors. We are champs, you know, and I feel like empowered women empower women. And you think about it as being weak, but it really takes a strong person to speak out against something.
It does.
Even if you don't have that back end, it takes a strong person to be able to say, hey, this happened to me. Because look at me, I really biggity. How is it? How is it that I could get conk? You know, so it's embarrassing to say it, but now I'm proud to say that this was something that I overcame. This was something that I learned and something that I could share so the next person doesn't have to experience it. You know, I feel like if you know better, you'll do better.
Yes.
You often tell someone, don't touch that stove. It can burn you. Some people have to experience it for themselves. But if I could tell you to prevent it, child, break off running when you see a narcissist, eh? Break off running.
And as Bahamians say, if you're hard head, you can feel it. So tell us about FEmpowerment. Since you touched on empowered women, empower women, tell us about that organization and why it's so important to you.
So FEmpowerment was birthed in COVID, the time of COVID. We were really bold then. So everybody was coming out with businesses and all of that creativity that was stored up. You were able to do it because you had the time to. But it was the same, FEmpowerment was brought about the same time my book was written. I remember it felt like God was sitting on my bed when he said, write it, write your story. And it took 6 months to put that book together because like I said, I had already lived it.
Wow.
And then I went a step further and I was like, let me not just do the book. Let me just start a whole movement. And the thing about movements, it needs planning, right? So FEmpowerment was something that I envisioned being there to uplift women or be a platform for these women that experience similar incidents of violence and domestic violence at that or emotional abuse. And then I didn't put much thought into it. You can't do it by yourself, which is why FEmpowerment right now is on a break, but we've still been there behind the scenes in subtle ways. So FEmpowerment does a clothing drive every October in the month of domestic violence month. And like I say, even though we are small, we're still there and people still hear the name, but I plan to bring it back full throttle. And we already discussed this behind scenes, how we would revamp and refurbish. But basically, FEmpowerment is for the ladies. The F-E in FEmpowerment stands for iron. And if you know the symbol of iron, you could melt it, you could shape it in any form. But the biggest thing is that it's resilient. That's what I think about when I think about women. We are resilient, we are strong, we are women. We have a story to tell, and that is the premises of FEmpowerment. the voice for the voiceless.
Yes, and I really like how you are creating a community, a space for them so that they can feel loved, but most importantly, they can feel seen. And because you have experienced it, but also you are here to say, hey, I am loud and I'm proud, and you can be just like me or even stronger because we can continue to do this together. And that truly means a lot. Community is everything.
Yes. So sometimes you don't actually have to do the footwork. A lot of, we have this thing in Bahamian society, you have to be the one that started something. But just joining hands in an effort is a great enough stance. Being that platform just to raise that awareness is what we are about.
And I really like that that's something that's not only powerful and meaningful in your space with that and helping those women to find their identity again, but also within the creative space, just being able to collaborate, not start from scratch. You can link with someone else and be able to build on that. And so in talking about linking, connecting, building on stuff, we are going to get into our fun challenge.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready.
You can do this, Jem. I believe in you so much. So this is going to be rapid fire, not hard at all,
Okay.
super easy.
Okay.
So our very first one is most memorable moment as a director. First thing that comes out.
Getting the behind the scenes, getting everybody into their character. It was funny as hell, if I could say that, to see people who weren't normally this type of person be this provocative, sexual person. It was funny. The behind the scenes moments were the most memorable ones for me. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you. Okay, favorite movie?
The Titanic. You believe that? I love the Titanic. And it's so long, but I love it.
So why the Titanic? Why does it speak to you?
You think someone who's been through all of this love story thing still interested in love? Well, Titanic to me was the ultimate love story. Two worlds colliding that didn't necessarily belong, but they put all of that aside. And, I know it was a deeper meaning, but Titanic was always
Okay.
that in The Notebook. I could say
Yes.
two, The Notebook.
Yes, no problem.
Well, The Notebook, I have a spin on that. I don't want to spoil the story for the people in The Notebook, but I really didn't feel like it was a love story. But you will hear more about that in probably the second book that I write. I tear that apart, but The Notebook was my favorite movie too. Again, because love was at the base of that.
Okay. You know what's interesting? I have seen persons talking about that.
The Notebook?
That it really hasn't been like this big
It isn't.
love story that persons.
Let me tell you
are
something.
talking
We
about.
got to unlearn these things that we think we know about love. And like I say, when I get into book 2, I really talk about The Notebook and some things that you probably didn't want to see, but I can make you see it,
Okay. All right. So what? Not going to give anything else away. Okay. So last question. Would you prefer, when it comes to the creative arts, would you prefer to direct or write?
I guess a little of both. A little of both. Being the co-writer for Sincerely You, well, the play was inspired by the book. So I already did the hard writing. And then now to turn it into this story that everybody could relate, not just reading it. It was the best of both worlds. So I guess both. I like to tell people what to do. So yeah, I guess directing.
That works both ways.
Yeah.
I could write it or I could delegate.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that. So we've had experiences, more importantly, you in both Nassau and Freeport. It's really had us for a bit of a tizzy, all right, when it comes to everything that we had to do to bring this stage production to life. And you continue to be dedicated. Do you think that it's something that you would do again?
Yes.
Oh,
If I could do it all over again, yes. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of that is a part of growth, know. We wouldn't have these stories to tell if it only had the beautiful parts. So if I had to do it all again, definitely yes.
Awesome. I love that. I love the sound of that. I know the cast loves the sound of that as well, although it might be a different play. That's okay. We can work with that. So, Jem, you have left from being an author to a director, amazing production, being an advocate and ambassador. You have done so much. And honestly, when I see you, when I think about you, the word dreams comes to life. And it even started from what I would say was the first time that you appeared on media, which was Native Stew. Tell us about that.
Native Stew. I was always, I don't know why, because I was nervous coming here today, but always liked the camera or being in the spotlight. So they came to my school at the time, St. Thomas More Primary, where they asked me the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And nobody wanted to say anything. Everybody was crying. And, he shoved me in the front of the mic and it's like, Jemeica like to talk, let her go. And I, said to them, I want to be a nurse because I like helping sick people. That was my first debut, but you get what I'm saying. That was the first time in the front of the camera. But that's where the dream stemmed, always wanting to help people. I always find a way to connect what I do with my purpose. That's essentially what we're here for.
Yes.
So even though I'm a nurse by trade, I still find a way to connect that in everything that I do, the way that I interact with people. So helping sick people is more than just a physical thing.
Exactly.
You have mentally sick, you have emotionally sick. So it's a all around thing. So from that point on, when I knew what I wanted to be, it was so much more behind just the physical, nurse. I wanted to help people is what I should have said when they asked me the question.
But it's okay because you followed that dream.
Yeah.
Like you really went into it. And it shows that from the start, you have been a go-getter. So even though you were nervous about being a director and it's like, what's going on? What is there to expect? Like you dived right in. Absolutely. And so what would you say to someone who has a story, an idea, they have a presence in their heart, they want to bring it to life, and they're just like, I really don't see myself doing this. I don't see myself writing or directing, but I want to be a creative and I want to help others through this. How would you
do it? Do it. Look, where's the camera? Do it. You understand? Do it scared.
Yes.
But do it. A lot of things, if you wait for being ready, I don't think you will ever truly be ready. Once you realize that the message that you have is greater than you would bypass fear. So I was scared as hell, but I knew that it was something greater that needed to be accomplished. So put self aside and do it. Do it scared, but do it now. I feel like everybody has a story to tell. Just start writing. Everybody has something to say. Make sure you be sensible when you're saying it. ChatGPT works too. So just do it. Just do it. That's my advice.
Oh, I love that. And I think that that's so important because sometimes we just need that little nudge, a little push in the right direction. And so, just those simple words, do it.
Do it. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you practice what you preach, which is so important. Now, the amazing thing is what's happening right now is the Star Film Institute Awards, the whole shebang. And of course, you've had that experience. Tell us about that firsthand.
Wow. It was long. It was a long period because there was different stages, waiting around to see if you had made it as a finalist.
Yeah.
So that was pretty wild, trying to find someone. So you're letting Corel know that I'm an amateur at this. I need a writer on board. So trying to find people that would do these things for free.
Yes.
But then I prayed and I asked God to put people in my path that had the same passion. And he did me a big one. He brought my cousin. Not only did he bring a writer, but he brought my cousin, Val.
Love.
Right? So, like I said, the experience was a tough, long, drawn out one, but well worth it because I learned so much. Apart from having to find your own sponsors and your actors, and then there was the traveling. We had to fill out a theater in Freeport. I've never even, I think I visited Freeport once, and to have a sold out show.
Hello, yes.
That was pretty awesome. And then to be bold and say that apart from Star Film, I'm going to try and do this on my own. Well, that should tell you how good Star Film was to me, to give me a leg up, to give me a stage, to believe in this amateur and give this amateur that courage to go ahead and do it on her own. Yeah. So I applaud the Star Film Institute and Corel and your amazing team. Thank you for seeing, sincerely you, seeing me as a person that had a story to tell, and then you did it again. So kudos to the people that took on that role to go and tell their story in the
Yes.
second lying up. It's some hard work, but like I say, well worth it.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate you bringing the reality to that because, persons can really just get caught up in the whole limelight of it, the spotlight. Okay, like, ooh, this, this looks new, this looks exciting. I just want to win. And they feel like it's easy. I could just find the people. This is going to work. They're going to understand what to do because they've acted before. They could just kind of get it together. I could show up, a couple of performances and we got this. I'm going to win.
Totally not that way. Totally not that way. When I put on the headphones that day in the booth and I had to speak to people and like you the director for real, like this falling on you.
Yes,
you
the
gotta
lighting,
say
the audio.
when to cut, and there was a real moment. I was just talking to Salem. I was telling her how real it felt where you had to make decisions right there in that moment. Girl was like, y'all over time. I said it was an hour and I'm flipping through and I'm like, girl, you see how much pages we have left in this? And I had to make an executive decision. Hey, we cutting this, we going straight to this part, and it worked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did that, So like you have some real decisions to make and no, it's not easy because everybody looking at you. Jem, what do you want? I understand this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but you still have to tell people what you expect, what you don't expect. So it still takes real work. You're not just sitting there, you actually involved. And if Corella had told me this, I don't know. Yeah.
And the thing is, it really takes being a decisive person to a whole other level because even if you are someone who makes decisions on the spot, at this point, sometimes you have no one else to turn to. Be like, hey, was this right? Is this good? Like, was it a good call? I just wanted to work. And it's like, there's no time for that.
I question myself a whole lot. But like I say, Val was really a pillar of strength because I cry in our chat plenty. I'm like, girl, I don't know what I doing. This team don't listen. Boy, y'all don't listen. It felt like y'all was my kids. I was like, oh, y'all really don't listen. And like she encouraged me along the way. Jam, you doing fine. You doing fine. And even y'all, Mechelle, you were always there. Jam, you doing a great job. Even if I wasn't, like that smile alone was like, okay, must you know what I do and they still here.
Yes, we stuck with you. We believe in our Jem, our director. We love you, love you, love you. Thank you for that. Yes, Freeport was quite the experience. It was our first go round with all of it. And as you said, we had the opportunity to bring it to Nassau, and that's what really elevated all of this. And I'm sure especially for you.
It did. Like I said, doing it under Star Films was one thing, but like to go on your own, you're leaving the comfort or the covering of your parent. And you're like, girl, what? This is your first time and you're talking about doing on your own, but I'm glad that I did. We had the support. We had the tools. Star Film really gave me the tools that I needed. So she had that book and I just flipped through that and I did, okay, well, if I did it in Freeport, I probably could do it in Nassau. Yeah.
Yes. And what I really, really liked was the scores of women that came out. I had persons that came to both showings. That is just how impactful it was. You had your book there, you had a presence, and you were truly proud to be like, this is my baby. She is growing. My book is also here so you can know where the inspiration comes from. And Jam, I have to say, you shone like a star.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me point out that it wasn't just the ladies, the men really surprised me the way they showed out. Someone was angry with me. Like, why you exposing our playbook like that?
Oh, guys, we got to protect our own women,
But the men enjoyed it too, because even though I had not intended the play to be a comedy, it still had a whole lot of laughter, which was pretty good because it's a serious topic. And for you to be able to present that and still give some lightness to it. Yeah. So that was pretty good. So the men enjoyed it too.
Yeah, and my brother purchased the book because he was just so moved by everything that you presented, and also just thinking about women and keeping that level of integrity and respect and value. So it's just so amazing how much of an impact it has had on men, which would surprise people, but it really says a lot about the importance of your purpose.
Yes, definitely. So a narcissist could be anyone. So it isn't just a woman experience. It just isn't something that a woman experiences, is what I'd like to say. A narcissist could be your mother, your boss, anyone. So people have been able to relate on all, in all levels, whether you were woman, man, chick, child, from you understood what a narcissist was, you could relate to that experience.
Yes. Jem, you have given us so much to think about. You have absolutely dived in. But of course, Jemeica, we have to know, how can we get a copy of your book?
All right, so you could get a copy of that book on Amazon.com. So again, just type in the author's name, which is myself, Jemeica P. Freckleton, and that's available in the Kindle version or the paperback version, or you could hit me up directly and get it on the low. I could give you a discount.
Jemeica, thank you so much for coming and being here, being such an inspiration to so many men and women throughout the nation, bringing your book to life, having the confidence and the strength to share your story, and of course, empowering everyone. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.